Okay, so today we are performing this exercise, Vanilla Kubernetes installation using kubeadm. Okay, for this we'll need two VMs. Okay, so I'm naming first VM as K8s node 1. I'll set the host name of the first VM as K8s node1.example.com. I'll set the IP address as 1.21. So normally I set the manual IP addressing. Okay, but I think you all are doing automatic IP addressing. Okay, so you all get the IP address automatically, so you use the same which you get using the DHCP server of the router. Okay, in my case it will be 21 and 22. So both the VM should have two CPU, 4 GB RAM and 30 GB disk. Okay, now let's learn what is vanilla Kubernetes. Okay, so if you read this properly, it stands for the unmodified Kubernetes that is released by the Kubernetes project. Okay, so unmodified version means we learned about microcreators. So microcreators, what they have done is they have taken this unmodified version and added some more components into it, like we used to do microcreators enable ingress and all, right? So those add-ons they have added. Okay, so the unmodified version of Kubernetes is the one which we'll be installing today. Okay, it is also referred to as a upstream Kubernetes. Okay, this term is used to distinguish the official open source distribution from the other managed distribution. Okay, that may include additional features, modification, and integration. That means the other cloud vendors or Tanzu Kubernetes, Rancher Kubernetes, or GKE, AKS, EKS, they have additional features. Can you go on mute? Uh, and when we install Kubernetes, we are installing pure community driven version of container orchestration platform. Okay, so I think my both the VMs are ready. I'll start both the VMs, and it's necessary that both the VMs are fresh. Don't use the existing ones. Okay. On both the VMs, we have to set the host name and make an entry in /etc host, so that we can refer it by host name instead of IP address. So let me open my terminal, mobile extern.
Fact, the existing VM uninstall doesn't work.
No, it won't work. It will take more time for you
Uh,
to troubleshoot that. So that's why always used to say always have one VM and
mm,
clone it from it.
okay,
Okay.
so I didn't do that
Yeah, then again you'll have to do
to
it.
install it. Is it?
You'll have to install two VMs now. Yeah, from scratch. Try on the existing ones. Try to clone it. If it
Mm,
doesn't work, then
close.
go for the new one.
The
Yeah,
new one, okay.
yeah. Try it. So as of now, both the VMs have the same IP address. So there will be an IP conflict. So what I'll do is I'll just go inside the VM and set the IP address. And again, I'm saying you all will get the IP address from DHCP server. In my case, in the clone VM itself, I have set the static IP address. And even in the production, remember you should have the static IP address. Now for learning purpose, it's okay if you get the IP address from DHCP. So it's taking some time. So you all also have to go inside the console and check what is the IP address. So this is the file where we have the static IP configuration. For you in this file, it will be like this, the first few lines. In my case, it is the static. I'm just changing it to 21 and 22. So this is node 2. So I'll set it as 22 and I'll do net plan apply. Okay. And similarly for second VM, I have IP address 21 for node 1. Do net plan apply. Okay. So this is VM1 which is having IP 1.21 and the other one is having 1.22. Let's access it from terminal now. Two one two two. Okay. So make sure you're on a correct VM. Okay. So what I'll do is sudo hostname set hostname. Okay. So I'm on 20. Okay. I'm on 22. Let's run this command here. On 21, K8s node1 dot example.com. Okay. And here K8s node2 dot example.com. Okay. So just log out and log in again. To log out, use Control D, and you can see the changes that it has changed the host name. Okay, for both the VMs. So 21 node 1 and 22 node 2. Now let's make an entry in sudo in etc/host. For that you'll have to use it with sudo, add sudo to this command /etc hosts. Okay. Okay, and remove this first line if you also have the same. So it should have only these three lines, the first three lines. Okay. So we are making an entry for 21 and 22 in on both the VMs. Here also sudo vim/etc host. So make sure from node 2 you can ping the node 1 K8s node1.example.com. So due to this entry the ping will work properly, and from node 1 ping the node 2 K8s node2.example.com. So our basic prerequisite is completed. So cross check again 121 122 and cat/etc host should have these two lines. Okay, now I've created two scripts. One is for master and one is for worker node. Okay, so we are creating a two node cluster. One will be the master and the other one will be the worker node. Okay, Earlier, the worker nodes were called as minions, but now we call it worker nodes. So see, I was doing a mistake. I was adding this on K8s node 2. We have to add it on K8s node 1. Cat K8s master. So we are using this script. Okay. So if we do not use this script, we'll have to run all these commands one by one. So remember, till this you'll have to copy it properly and enter and control D to save. Okay, and just run this script. So this will start the installation for the master node. Okay, so, and for the worker node we have one more script. Okay, on VM2, that is on worker node, we have to run this script. So for worker it is a bit short. And run the worker node script. Okay, so in some time the installation will be completed. So what's happening here is we are actually running we are installing three commands. Okay, three packages. Okay, kubelet, kubeadm and kubectl. Okay, so these are useful for running the master and the worker nodes. Okay, on both the VMs it is done, and only on master node what we are doing is, on master node we are just adding a network add-on, and we are just initializing the network. That's it. That is for master. We need to define which what will be the pod network, right? Last time many of you were asking how to set the pod network and all. So here we are defining the pod network. Okay, and the version. Okay, so this is done only on the master node. The only difference is on master node we are defining the pod network and creating a network add-on. Okay, and this is one of the Calico add-on, but there are some other add-ons also available like Weaver and all. Okay, but in this case we are using Calico. So there are CNI, CRI. There is also CNI, that is uh, that is for only for network. Some standards are defined for network. So there are various vendors for network also. So let's see. I think yeah, it's still in progress. So if you see at the backend, it is pulling some images which are required to run the Kubernetes master. So at the backend, it is also using the containers to manage everything. So the installation of the installation of the packages is done. Okay, yet the worker node is not connected to the master node. When the master node will be ready, we'll run one command which will connect this worker node to the master node. Okay. So let's wait for it to get completed. Okay. So if you see, the installation is almost completed. Okay, and it is saying that use this token to join other nodes. Okay, so using this token we can join the other node. So on the master only we'll get this token. Okay, so the what we will do is we'll just run this command from uh, the worker node, but I think the cluster is not yet ready. So let's first cross check it. Till then I'll copy this in some other notepad. Okay, so I've copied this command and kubectl get all the service is created, but let's see if the kubectl get nodes. So the master node is called as control plane as well. Okay, and the status is not ready. So let's wait for some time, and we can also see when the by default what are the namespaces which are created. So if you see kubectl get namespace, it has cube system. So go to kubectl hyphen n cube system get all. So if you see, some containers are still getting created. That's why it's not ready. So even the Kubernetes is using some containers, okay, to manage everything. So I said Calico, this is the networking component. So to refer the pods internally to communicate with each other, it uses an core DNS. Okay. Then some API servers are there. We have a control manager, okay, kube scheduler. So we learned about the architecture. Those components are getting installed here. So let's wait for some time and it will be ready. Okay. So the master is ready now. Again cross check, we can see that all the containers are getting created. There is some issue I think, but this will also get ready in some time. But as of now it's saying that master is ready. Now let's join it. To join it, use this command. Okay, so we have to run this with sudo. That's why this error. So 1.21 is the IP address of the master. If we have one more VM, we can use the same command from that particular VM, and that VM will also be part of the cluster then. So it will also be ready in some time. Okay. Now it is saying run kubectl get nodes on the control plane to see this node is joined the cluster or not. So let's use that command kubectl get nodes. Okay, it has joined but it is yet not ready, so let's wait for some time. So we can also use watch command, so every 2 seconds it will show the status whether it's ready or not. So anybody else is able to do the same thing, or you are still doing the installation?
Yeah, after your access, I will start.
Okay, but you can do side by side, everything is given in the note, same thing I'm following. It will save some time. Okay, so it's taking some time. Let me cancel it. Let's check. Okay, so let's wait for it. So if you see, you won't notice the difference between micro K8s and this vanilla one. All the commands are same, only the installation steps are different. Even in the cloud, the installation steps will be different. Okay, but at the back end, we'll just connect to the cluster and get the details. Now if I run the kubectl get nodes, okay, it's saying that both the nodes are ready. And if I run this command from the worker node, it will not work. Or if we try from any other VM, then also it will not work. Okay, but in as I said last time, in production environment you won't have access to even the master and the worker node. You will have a separate VM, kind of a bastion host or a jump host, from which you will access this cluster. Okay, so suppose this 1.22 is that some jump host, then how to connect? So when it does the installation, okay, it creates this file. Okay, it creates a .cube directory, and inside this there will be a configuration file. Okay, so this due to this configuration file, we are able to communicate with the cluster. So let's create this directory mkdir on the other node cube. Okay, go to that particular directory and create a file called config. The name of the file should be config only. It shouldn't be anything else. So this is not given in the notes. Okay. So kubectl get nodes. Okay. So now even you are able to connect. So this file is important. It has the private key and all. If anyone gets access to it, and if they are in the same network range, then they can access the cluster. And this is one of the method. There are various types of methods to connect to the cluster. This is the most means the first method, or you can say the most famous method to connect. Okay, so we'll continue working from this. So kubectl get nodes will give you the details of both the nodes which are running. So the first one is master. It says that it is a control plane. The other one is the worker node. And if I do -o wide, okay, so it will give some more details, like what is the version, no, what is the internal IP, okay, 1.21 1.22, which on which OS it is running, and what is the kernel version and all, and which container runtime is running. Okay, so the cluster is created, and that completes our first exercise. That is exercise
So by
number
default, the first
14.
one is a master node, and the remaining whatever we add is a worker node, right?
So I said earlier that I have a script. Okay, in that script there is
Mm-hmm.
a difference. Okay,
Okay.
so master script is different and the worker script is different. Okay, so in master script, due to this command, okay, cube ADM, okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
the bootstrap command which makes it a master.
Master. Okay.